guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Izzy and today I'm going to be doing this look right here using the Colourpop Fade into Hue palette. Alright, let's get started. I did another look using the yellows mostly and I will link that somewhere. Today I'm going to focus mostly on the greens, doing kind of like a monochromatic type look. So I'm going to start with the shade Abstract. It's like the bright yellow. And I'm just going to pop that right into the crease, kind of high up on the brow bone. I'm going to be using this more as my transition shade. I do want to say that these eyeshadows or pressed pigments are super pigmented. Like they are very vibrant. However, they will also stain your eyelids, which is not unique to this palette. A lot of pressed pigments do that. Let me bring you in a little bit closer here so you can see what I'm doing. Next, I'm taking the shade Dyed Up and I'm going to do the same thing, bring it into the crease, except this time just a little bit lower. Just back and forth in windshield wiper motions. Another reason we are doing the eyes first today is because these shadows do have a lot of fallout. Just a little warning. And I'm going to take that Abstract color and I am just going to bring it along my lower lash line, connecting it to the shadow that we put in the crease. It's okay if you get it a little bit too low. We're going to cover all of our fallout and everything with concealer and stuff later. So if it's a little messy, it is okay. And I'm just going to do that same thing with the Dyed Up color. It's funny how doing makeup makes us make like the weirdest faces. Like, why do we do that? We're making ourselves look, you know, pretty, but we're making some wild faces in the meantime. Now I am using a much smaller blending brush in the shade Bold type. And again, putting it right in the crease, really, you know, focusing it in that hollow, kind of aiming it upwards. And now once our crease is situated, you should be looking something like this, like maybe you are transforming into the Hulk slowly, just at your eyes, I guess. We are going to go into that shade Dyed Up again on like a flat brush, and we're just going to tap that all over the lid. Again, do not worry about the fallout. It's why we're doing the lids first. Now, once we put that all over the lid, we're going to go in. I'm actually going in with the same brush. You can go in with a clean one if you'd like, into the shade Designer. It's like a chartreuse that has some sparkle to it, and we are going to pat that right over that dyed up shade. Except this time, instead of bringing it all the way across, kind of stop it about 3/4 into the lid, like this. One thing I have noticed about this color, unfortunately, is that it goes on nice and intense and vibrant. However, this color specifically kind of dies down a little bit after being on your eye. Even if you like pile it on there, it still kind of loses its intensity a little bit, unfortunately. Now, once we have that patted on there, we're just going to take a little bit of that Dyed Up shade on a small blending brush. We're just going to kind of do that outer third where we didn't put that Designer shade, just to kind of blend the two together. All right, we will finish the eyes in just a little bit, but for right now, we are going to move on to the skin. I am using the Benefit POREfessional Hydrate Primer right here. Don't make fun of my mini. Your girl is on a budget and I got it in my Ipsy bag. So when I use any kind of like pore minimizing primer or anything with this kind of feel to it, I only put it in certain areas of my face. That would be right here where my cheeks kind of touch my nose, center of the forehead, down the bridge of my nose and where my nostrils meet my face, and on my chin, and then any little tiny bit I have left on my hands, I'll put on the rest of my face. But I find when you use too much of this kind of primer, it really beads up and it kind of ruins your foundation a little bit. And honestly, for a pore refining primer, you only need it where you have big pores, and those are usually the places where that would happen. For foundation today, I'm using the Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation. I personally am in the shade 20NN, and I'm just putting 2 pumps on the back of my hand and applying it with a flat foundation brush, and I am starting in the center of my face because that is where we are prone to the most redness generally and where we need the most coverage. Also, make sure you get your foundation really close to your hairline If your ears are going to be showing, you may want to bring it onto your ears, especially because ears are red on a lot of people. And of course, you may want to bring it down onto your neck, especially if your foundation is not a perfect color match for your skin, which honestly, a lot of times it's not, especially because our skin tones are always changing. I'm so pale. Most of the time I have to buy like the lightest color foundation, but yeah. So after I've applied my foundation with the foundation brush, I go in with a fluffier brush. I believe this is the Luxie 514 blush brush, and I just buff it into the skin really well. And making sure I blend it well into the hairline and onto my neck. And I know it may kind of seem like a lot, but I also go over it again with a dampened beauty blender. I find that this gives me the best finish. It doesn't look cakey, and it makes it look like skin. Sorry if you can hear my chair in the background. It's really loud for some reason. I need a new chair to film in, honestly. Before moving on to concealer, I am going to do my brows real quick. So I'm going to brush them out with a spoolie. I do need to get my eyebrows done so they're not going to be like really sleek and perfect today because I don't feel like tweezing. Not that they're ever really sleek or perfect, but you know what I mean. So I'm using the Urban Decay Brow Blade in Cool Cookie. And right now I am just following the natural line of my eyebrow on the bottom. But then for the top, I don't line here. I only line from the arch to the tail. I do that because I find that lining here gives you that blocky look, and that's not what I'm going for. And then I just fill in any sparse areas with light strokes to make hair-like lines. And you can go heavier in the tail and lighter as you get close to the front of your brow, because naturally we are lighter here and darker here. So it gives you more of that ombre brow effect. Guys, let me know if you'd like to see any other looks with the Colourpop palette. I'm really kind of digging the monochromatic thing, but if you want like a rainbow look, or maybe you'd like to see a blue one or a purple one. I did do a blue look just for fun the other day, and Trey liked it, so maybe I could do that. Just let me know, guys. Or I could do a more natural look. I know pretty much every look that I've done on here so far has been, you know, colorful or dramatic. So maybe I should throw like a more natural one in here. Now, this brow product has a like stain marker type brush on the other side. So I like to put a couple flicks of that in the tail just to make it a little bit darker. And add a little bit more dimension to the brow. But I don't bring it up any higher than the arch. I've been watching a lot of Venture Brothers on TV, so every time I say the word arch, it makes me think of that. So I personally get really, really bad dark circles under my eyes. People constantly ask me if I've gotten in a fight or if I have a black eye. So I am going to color correct before putting any concealer down. Honestly, this is one of my holy grail products. I had such a hard time covering my dark circles before this. It is the Becca Undereye Brightening Corrector in light to medium. I highly recommend this product to any of my ladies out there that have really dark under eye circles. You find that it works better when you pat it in with your fingers and when you use a brush. Something about the heat from your fingers really helps it melt into your skin better. And that way it looks more flawless under your concealer. And of course, for concealer, I'm using the good old tried and true Tarte Shape Tape. I am shade 12N, Fair Neutral. And I just put that right where I tend to have the most darkness under my eye, which is just that little hull area right there. I add 3 dots on the top of my cheekbone. This stuff goes such a long way. So when you see people like fill in this whole area, I don't really feel like that's necessary. I feel like that's kind of wasting product and just going to make you look cakey. But you know, you do you, whatever you like. But I also put some on the center of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose, around the corners of my mouth, little X on the chin. Sometimes I'll also do a line right here to kind of carve out my contour, but I don't think I'm going to do that today. And then I just take a beauty blender and I slam it into my face until the concealer becomes one with my skin forever. Honestly, probably one of the biggest tips that I have for doing your makeup is just to trust the process. I don't know how many times I started with eyeshadow and it just looked crazy by itself, and so I wiped off a look. When I was younger, I like wouldn't wear any dark eyeshadow at all because it just looked crazy before I put my foundation and stuff on, but that's to be expected. A lot of times the look that you think looks crazy before it's finished will actually look bomb as heck once it's done. So just, you know, have faith in the creative process. That's my, you know, words of wisdom for today, all right? All right, next is the contour. Let's chisel these cheekbones. Well, I am using the Kat Von D Shade and Light Duo in Light. I disagree with that whole 3 concept contour. Honestly, that doesn't work for everybody's face shape, but it doesn't really tell you where the contour should go. Honestly, putting the contour too low or too high can really mess up the shadow effect. If it's too low, it can make you look like you have a beard. If it's too high, it just doesn't give you that right effect. So what I like to do, what I find works, is to find where your hairline meets your ear and start there. Now that's where you should put the product down first. That's where it's going to be the darkest. So you start here and then you angle it down towards your mouth. Also go into my temple to make this look a little more zoop. And then a little bit onto my forehead. And then along the jawline. Also, instead of doing like a really precise nose contour today, I'm just going to kind of take the same brush that I used to do the rest of my face and just put it down the sides of my nose. I find that it looks more cohesive just to put it elsewhere on the face instead of, you know, just these areas. So even if you don't want to do like a snatched nose contour, this works. For blush, I'm using the Balm Cosmetics Will Powder in Stamina. And on a nice big fluffy type brush, I'm going to take it right over here, and I'm actually going to overlap it over the contour. I find that it makes it look more natural, blends everything together. I'm going to focus it on the more of the side of my face above my contour, but I am also going to bring some up onto the apples of my cheeks. And I personally like to take some onto my forehead, down my nose, and on my chin, just for like an all-over pinch of color, since foundation takes so much of that away from our skin. I'm using one of my favorite highlighters today. It is the Kat Von D Metal Crush Highlighter in Gold Skool. I find this gives such like a wet look to it. I love it. So I'm just going to take some on a brush, put it on the high points of my cheek. Look at that. Now, I try to avoid this area right here. I find that it's already textured on my skin, and so adding highlighter is just going to highlight that texture. In addition to the high points of the cheek, I also am going to rub some onto my forehead, my chin, my Cupid's bow. I'm also going to put just a little bit onto my brow bone. Now with my ring finger, I'm going to bring it down the bridge of my nose. And then just a little boop on the snoot, like I'm a kitten. Yes, 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 yes. I love highlighter so much. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. I'm going to do some eyeliner. I'm just going to do like this little wing. All right, so it wasn't my best liner day, but it's all right. It looks okay. It's acceptable. We all have those days where our wings just aren't working out for us, but moving on. I'm using the Kat Von D Go Big or Go Home mascara in Trooper Black. Look how big this thing is. And I'm just going to start at the base of the lashes and wiggle the mascara through. Just for a little added fun, I'm putting that highlighter right in the inner corner of my eye. There we go. That added a little something to it. Like a little light bulb. Beautiful. We're just going to finish off with some lips. I'm using the KKW Beauty Liner in 0.5. Overlining ever so slightly at the biggest part of my bottom lip and right around the Cupid's bow on my top lip, but I'm following the line of my lip on the edges and where they meet. I find that that gives the most flattering look and looks the most natural. rather than overlining the whole lip, it can look a little cartoonish sometimes, I guess. And I'm actually just gonna fill in the whole lip with this. It's such a good nude. I have such a hard time finding good nudes, being as pale as I am, because a lot of them I find wash me out. Alright, and to finish off this look, I'm just going to go right over that with the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip gloss in Peachyyy. This is such a good color. I bought this to give to somebody. It was like in a gift set. I bought it as a Christmas gift, and I just liked it so much I took it out and kept it for myself. I buy lots of gifts that really don't have a specific person in mind. It's just like, oh, I'll give this to somebody type deal. So I gave it to myself. No big deal. Do you guys do that? Alright guys, so this is the finished look. I hope you like it. Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? I'm really enjoying doing looks with the Colourpop palette, so if you would like to see more of those, let me know. Or if you'd like to see something more natural, again, if you liked this video and like to see more content like this, or maybe you would just like to see more of me, please do not forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next week. Bye.